As the Joker once famously demonstrated to Batman, being a hero has a bad habit of creating a dark counterpart sometimes. Even with the best intentions, life has a way of balancing things. So someone at either extreme of the moral spectrum inspires an equal and opposite force to come into being. We'll call it the Mr. Glass conundrum. You can't fight against that sort of universal balance, but that is not what we're here to talk about today. Instead, we're here to just laugh at the big idiots that manage to conjure up a force of evil by just being, well, big idiots. The times when heroes have done something willfully stupid that led to the creation of their own arch-enemies. You know, the kinds of things that were probably simpler to not do and wouldn't have caused the headache of them almost being killed or something. Sometimes they really do just do it to themselves. I am the Dark Timeline Ash from What Culture, and these are 9 more movie idiots who basically created their own villains. Hello YouTube, we're turning things up to 11 with the launch of What Culture Music.
It's our brand new channel featuring all those lists you just can't get enough of, including creepy hidden messages in your favourite pop songs,
as well as radio-friendly songs that detail literal murder. That's as well as chatty faces where we get personal with you on our sordid musical tastes, in-depth discussion podcasts, and we're even doing quality fun stuff like tournaments and quizzes too.
There's going to be something for everybody, so come on over and make some sweet music with us.
Or just watch the videos, that works too.
Like, share and subscribe at the link below, and we will see you there.
Bye! 9. Luke Skywalker pushed Ben Solo over the edge. The Last Jedi. Look, obviously part of Luke Skywalker's whole setup is that he's a less morally infallible chosen one than you would traditionally expect. He has the potential for darkness in him, and we're even warned by Yoda that he'll end up rotten if he doesn't do his chores and training properly. Which he doesn't. Still, his complexity shouldn't mean that he suddenly develops a case of the raging idiots as an old man. Having exiled himself to drink all the green milk he can suckle, it turns out that Luke ran away because he helped turn Ben Solo into Kylo Ren. And how he managed that is flat out moronic. Despite managing to save the galaxy and being proven right in his belief that his father had some redeemable qualities left even after murdering lots of people, Luke for some reason decides that a hint of darkness in his nephew is enough to warrant killing him. He did change his mind, but the sight of him holding his lightsaber over him turned Ben to the dark side. The decision to kill was bad enough, but why not only draw your weapon last minute rather than letting it ominously illuminate the room? That's just bad tactics. 8. Stark and Banner learn nothing about the Mind Stone. Avengers: Age of Ultron. S.H.I.E.L.D. obviously have previews of redeveloping weapons they've acquired from their enemies, given that they stole Hydra's weapons technology to make anti-Thor weapons in secret, but that doesn't mean it's always a good idea. You'd think that Bruce Banner and Tony Stark would have shared brain power to realise that if you use a mystical alien artifact that you've previously seen body snatch both a fellow Avenger and basically the most experienced astrophysicist on Earth, you're asking for trouble. And yet, when it comes to exploring how to create Ultron, the pair completely fail to realise that there's probably a reason that it was impossible initially, and then also recognise the danger of basing anything on what they learned from Loki's scepter. But no, they plough ahead and the inevitable outcome is a sentient AI with an inbuilt passion for Avengercide. 7. Bruce Wayne is terrible with people. Batman Forever. There's no doubting the fact that Jim Carrey's Edward Nygma is a little weird when we first meet him in Batman Forever. He's a self-proclaimed Bruce Wayne fanboy, working his dream job at Wayne Enterprises, and he's genuinely brilliant. Sure, he needs some direction, but he's nothing like a danger to Gotham at that point. He only turns into the Riddler when Bruce Wayne rejects his invention designed to beam TV straight into an audience member's brain. Initially, Wayne says he'd like to see more of it if Nygma sets up a meeting to discuss it further. But then he turns on the idea when Nygma demands an answer immediately. A normal person would placate Nygma, and as Batman, Wayne should recognise the value of technology that manipulates brainwaves, given he's a superhero whose whole shtick is weaponising technology against his enemies. Instead, he shuts down Nygma's idea and unhinges him finally to the point that he kills his boss and sets out on the path to become the Riddler. Wayne should have realised that it's better to be in the boat with a guy pissing out than to have him outside pissing in. He's got covered in piss here. 6. Dan Gallagher can't keep it in his pants. Fatal Attraction. As most of the victims of Jason Voorhees, or indeed many slasher movie villains would presumably attest, you should never, ever have promiscuous sex. Never even think impure thoughts and you'll live to be a grand old age without anyone trying to make all of your blood leave your body at once. Unfortunately for him, Michael Douglas's Dan Gallagher didn't get that memo and ends up living a hell hath no fury nightmare of his own making simply because he can't keep it in his pants. Despite being happily married and successful, with no cause to claim mental weakness or illness, he has an affair with Alex, who becomes clingy and then unstable and then invades his life, leading to her abducting his daughter and eventually invading Dan's family home and attacking his wife. Literally none of this would have happened if Dan had simply gone home and just beat his meat or something. 5. Aquaman went dark to teach someone a lesson. Aquaman. In one of the strangest character decisions of all time, Arthur Curry turns a bad guy into a supervillain by doing the opposite of everything that has informed him as a person up to that very point. The legend of the Aquaman is that he protects people in danger at sea, no matter what they're up to. I mean, they could be fishermen who are literally killing his fishy friends and he wouldn't let them die. But then, when he foils the Black Ops mission to steal a submarine and Jesse Kane goes to shoot him in the back, Arthur goes all cold and inhumane and leaves him to die as a punishment. Inevitably, his son, who is already a bad dude, witnesses this and pledges his life to vengeance, becoming Manta in the process. To be fair, at least Arthur acknowledges that in the end it was really all his fault. 4. Megamind got bored. Megamind. This one is a twofer, since Megamind is turned into a supervillain as a child by the superhero who he spends the rest of his life in conflict with. When they both come to Earth, Metro Man forcibly crashes into Megamind's ship, sending him crashing into a prison where he learns how to be a criminal. And then when the pair meet again at school, Metro Man bullies him, poisoning him further away from a potential life of goodness. But Megamind isn't faultless either, and it's his fault that the plot of the film that bears his name happens at all. Early on, he manages to score a victory over Metro Man only to realise that the hero actually defines his entire life and that life without him is just plain boring. In the interest of spicing things up, he seeks to make a villain to replace Metro Man, as you do, but it backfires. He unwittingly ends up creating a villain in Titan who is worse than Megamind himself, forcing him into the heroic role. Talk about an almighty self-own. 3. Tony Stark is terrible at his job. Iron Man. It's that guy, Tony Stark again. Not only did he create Ultron and almost destroy the Earth indirectly, but before any of that happened, he also almost ensured his own demise and ended up giving himself the injury that determined that he would become Iron Man in the process, simply by not being very good at his job. When Stark takes over the family business, he is horribly prepared to do so because his parents die prematurely. Thanks, Buck. He's also not come to the moment of epiphany that he is an arrogant, conceited idiot whose vanity and short-sightedness have led to things like the death of the Maximoffs. It's his mismanagement of Stark Industries that led to their death through his careless neglect of who he was selling to, and which weaponizes the twins against him. But his running of the company, or his misrunning of it more appropriately, also turns Obadiah Stane against him. The pair clearly had a good relationship at some point, but Stane turns against him because of how he runs the company and his own aspirations. If Tony had just focused more on his business and less on boinking, he would have been fine. 2. M turned her back on a loyal agent. Skyfall. On the face of it, M had no choice but to let Raoul Silva rot in captivity. She was, after all, the head of MI6 with responsibilities to her government and to the general safety of the world and her agents. She was presented with a difficult choice when Silva hacked into the Chinese government's top secret files and exchanged him for 6 previously captured agents. To most people, she probably did the right thing. The problem here, though, is that M is a renegade MI6 leader whose favouritism has protected Bond numerous times by this point. Hell, she allows him to pass his fitness to serve tests because of who he is and their relationship. The implication is that Bond is no more than Silva's replacement as her favourite, and yet there's such a difference in their treatment that you have to wonder whether M was being deliberately provocative in allowing Silva to be captured and tortured for 5 months. Sure, she does what is necessary, but the idea that she would hand over one of her own, even to protect others, is so wrong-headed that it feels like she just momentarily lost her mind. 1. Humanity gave Skynet way too much power. Terminator. There's a long and rich history in cinema of mankind overreaching and seeing our wings burned off, or our scientific experiments backfiring horribly. Arguably the most famous example outside of Frankenstein playing God came in the Terminator, when humanity decided that the only way to protect themselves from themselves was to hand over control of all of the nukes to a computer. That way, they reasoned, there was no margin for human error and the world would be at peace forever. Nice going there, science morons! The reality is that Skynet was too clever and nobody thought to build in a self-governed kill switch that would have stopped an escalation, like the system gaining sentience at an alarming rate, and then reacting to a deactivation attempt as an attack. Not one single programmer took into consideration the fact that a system built to permanently safeguard humanity from human attacks would think an attempt by a human to turn it off was part of that sort of attack. Like, the logic is right there. And that's our list. What other idiots created their own villains? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. I've been Ash and this has been What Culture. Make sure to subscribe to the What Culture YouTube channel for more lists like this. And don't forget to visit whatculture.com for daily news and articles. Thanks for watching.